couple of weeks ago, I posted on our Facebook group and on Twitter, or X, and asked basically what little unique plugins have you come across that you think are worth mentioning to get more exposure. Well, you sent me lots and lots of great suggestions, and today we're going to take a look at 9 of those suggestions. They cover all different kind of broad topics, but let's start off with one that helps optimize and speed up your page load. So the first one we're going to take a look at is called Tada. And it's basically an instant web page loading plugin. What exactly does it do? Well, it uses the instant.page script to help preload the next page that people may want to look at. So when you have links on your site and people may hover over those and so on, it will automatically preload those in the background. And what this does is it effectively makes your site feel a lot snappier, because when someone clicks on the next page, if it's preloaded, all the assets are there like that, and the page is on screen for them. So it helps make everything a little bit snappier. The cool thing is, once you install it, link in the description, there's nothing to set up. It's basically set it, forget it. You install it, job done. That's all there is to it. So check out Tada and see if there's something that'll help speed up your website if you want to just get that little bit of extra optimization out of what you're producing for people. So there we go. That's Tada. And all you need to do is install it and it's job done. Test it. Let me know how you get on with it in the comments section down below. Next on the agenda is System Dashboard. Now this is probably for more the techie, geeky, nerdy kind of people out there, like myself, that like to see exactly what's going on behind the scenes with their website. It's great if you pair this up with something like Query Monitor and you have a whole set of tools that help you find any issues that may be on your site, but also just find out a ton of information about the site, the server, everything you're using on it, and so much more, without having to go to the control panel of your hosting account, which you may not actually have access to. So once installed, you've got tons of information available to you. You can see, if we take a look at the main area, we can see database information, the posts and taxonomies, media, directories, custom fields, users. And as you go down, you've got your options, your hooks, your classes, your monitor, your hardware, all manner of things inside here. So for example, if we come into our database section, we can see how many tables are used. We can find out the names of all the tables, the database size as it grows. This is a clean install of WordPress, so it's pretty minimal. But you can see all that information, your themes and your plugins. Again, you can find out what's being used, where it's being used. You can also come into things like your post types and taxonomies, see exactly how many of any of those types there are. So we've got 12 posts, 3 pages, 1 attachment for media, taxonomy terms, old slugs and so on. Your media, so you can find out exactly what media types are available, you've used, uploaded, all manner of cool things. Then if you want to dig down even further, you can come into all your options, so you can what core options you've got. So you can see we've got the site URL, we can find out what that is. You've got your balance autoload, you can find out all the settings inside here. Again, without having to dig into various different files and parts of your hosting and so on. All that information is available here. You want to check out what cron jobs, for example, you can check those out. Any rewrite rules, you can check. You kind of get the idea. Like I say, it's probably a little bit more techy and a little bit more nerdy for a lot of people, but it does open up a bunch of useful information, including things like monitoring the uptime, the hardware, and so on. You may need to have other things enabled in here to actually get the most out of it. But again, it's totally free. Great to help you to fault find and see what's going on the server, on the website, all those kinds of things in one centralized location. Next on the agenda is adding another little level of security to your website. This time you can use CloudGuard. Now CloudGuard integrates with the Cloudflare geolocation service. This is a free service that you can have in a free account or in a paid account, doesn't matter. You can use Cloudflare free version to get access. And what this does is then it will monitor for where different accesses come from, different countries, and then you can choose to block certain countries' access to your login page. This can be really useful if you've got some countries with an IP range, for example, that's trying to hammer your login page and you want to stop that. Well, you can use this, you can reduce server load, you can kind of stop all problems like that by simply blocking IP ranges in certain countries and so on. This is another one to check out. It's a useful little plugin. Like I say, if you use Cloudflare, this gives you another level of security you can add in with zero cost to you whatsoever. You can try it, test it, install it, and get started for zero cost whatsoever. Next on the agenda is another tool that helps protect your website, especially if it ultimately gets compromised. This is called Protect Admin. And what you can do with this is you can use this little plugin to protect the admin users and stop them from being deleted. You can also stop them from deleting posts and pages and things. There is a pro version, but I haven't tested that out. but you can see all you need to do is install the plugin, come into the settings, and you can see we can choose what admin accounts we want to protect. We can also then protect the posts and pages by that as well. Now, there are some other ones inside here that you want to use the Pro version for, but I think if you just want some basic additional security, this is a cool one to install and just use that free version, and then you can't have a problem with your accounts being deleted. Again, like I say, totally free, super simple to set up, nothing really complex inside here whatsoever. You can check out the logs and everything like that, so any attempted actions we recorded. There's contact, there's support, you can upgrade, you can do what you want with it. But the free version gives you a nice little level of security added to your admin users and the content in which they add to the site. Next on the agenda is clean image file names. Now, there's probably times where you've tried to upload an image and it's failed and you've looked at it and think, well, there's nothing wrong with the image. I can open it in Photoshop or Affinity. Everything looks great. And you open it up, but you upload and it still doesn't work. You get an error. Well, one of the reasons could be it's got special characters in there. So it could be things like exclamation marks and so on, or it could be non-accent characters, especially if you have an audience or subscribers and users and things that have access to the site that have these various different characters that have symbols and things above them, especially if you have an international user base. So what this little plugin does is it strips those off and just keeps to the normal characters. You can see there's a couple of examples by here. Very easy, very simple. Set it up and basically set it and forget it, and you'll have this to be able to take care of that in the background and you don't have to worry about it. Again, another little plugin that can be useful if you have come across this problem in the past. Again, totally free, install it, job done. Now, if you have a busy site with lots of posts, lots of content, lots of pages, you may find things slow down a little bit and you may want to look at ways of optimizing. Well, one of the areas that's overlooked a lot of the time is the actual database itself. This is where IndexWP MySQL for Speed plugin comes in handy. So what this basically does is it works to make your SQL database work more efficiently by adding high performance keys to the tables that you choose. So once you've installed this and you've got everything set up, you're going to come into the options and you can see inside here you can choose where you want to add those keys. Obviously make sure you make a backup just in case things go a little bit skew-if, but then you can choose what tables you want to include that in, and you can see you can set a few things up inside here. I would recommend checking out the documentation on this, making sure you have a full backup before you test it, and then test it before and after to see what difference it makes. But like I say, it's kind of intended for bigger, larger databases, not your typical small website ones. Now, if you want people to be able to bookmark, share, those kinds of things when it comes to the content you put out there, favorites for WordPress may be a nifty little plugin you want to check out. What this effectively does is it adds a little favorites option to the corner of your posts. You can see we've got one here where I can add it to my favorites, another one here. It tells you the number of people that have added to the favorites and so on. The cool thing about this, though, is that you don't have to have users with accounts to be able to take advantage of it. That is the best way, but you can use this alongside session data or cookies to store information and make it available across the board. So it's a pretty nifty little plugin. There's tons of options. There's a full breakdown on exactly how to get started with it, how to install it, how to get it set up, but it also goes into how you can configure this, customize it, and how you can use it in various different ways to grab the information that's being stored inside this and then use that throughout your site to actually do things like popular posts and so on. There's a bunch of really useful options. This is one of those little plugins that I'm experimenting with right now, just to see how I can use it in some of my websites. So make sure you check out favorites for WordPress. I'm pretty sure anyone that's used WordPress for more than 5 minutes can attest to how bloody annoying it is when you get lots of notifications and pop-ups, especially if you're using things like WooCommerce, plugins that associate with that. You just get nagged all over the bloody place. It's a pain in the butt. Well, this is where Notice Manager or Admin Notices Manager comes in really handy. It's a super useful little plugin. Install it, and then inside your dashboard, you get a new section at the top that has admin notices. This will show you the notices in one simple out-of-the-way location. So as you get notices, they will pop up in the corner and you're not going to get them smack all over the dashboard of WordPress, really, really annoying the living daylights out of you. Check that out, Admin Notices Manager. Again, totally free and really, really useful to clean up what can be a really frustrating situation in WordPress. Logging into WordPress has long been a case of you use your username or your email address and your password and you log in. Then we had two-factor authentication or maybe social logins. But how about we open up even more options which make it more secure? This is where WP Web Authn great catchy name, comes into play. This allows you to use new ways in which you can authenticate access to your website. So you can replace your passwords with devices like passkeys, USB keys, fingerprint scanners, window hello compatible devices, and lots more. So you can install this, set it up, and then you can have access to your dashboard and your WordPress website without the need to rely on those usernames and password options. So once installed, you can set things up how you want. So you can see we can choose the preferred login method, whether we want to prefer the web auth or we want to use the password option as our preferred option. And then we can choose whether you want to allow things like remember login, allow login with email addresses. You get more control over exactly how this all works. You can choose specific authenticator types like any or platform, like your passkeys or built-in sensors, or whether you've got roaming devices like USB security keys and so on. You can also do things like disable the security password reset. You can set up what you want to happen after registration, whether you want this to log the user directly in. And you can also set up logging, so you can find out exactly what's going on behind the scenes using this particular plugin. So if you want to open up more options, reduce the requirement to have username and passwords, then maybe check this plugin out and see if this makes a better way of securing your login section for your website. So there's 9 free, pretty cool little plugins for WordPress that you may have never heard of. If you want more, check out this video next.